good. You touch on a very sensitive issue. One of my biggest problems in trying to convince my membership to go along with me is the fact that there are people or appointees in the department, and I was very open to object to them because they are there not to implement and support the President's policy of job creation and providing dignified jobs and life for our people. They are there in order to implement their own philosophical stuff. Okay, and I said, people like that has no right to accept the appointment. They should do the president justice by resigning. I mean, and I refer to people who come out and announce, for example, and again, I'm very critical here of the individual who comes and says, we will do 125 pesos across the board increased. You know, and then he follows by saying, this is my personal opinion. Boss, personal opinion, you're a senior government official. You have lost your right to make public statements like that. And did you even bother to make a computation? 125 pesos for 7.7 million people or employees will amount to almost 1 billion pesos a day. And NEDA itself said, if you do that, you're going to see inflation go to beyond 6.5%. What happens, I asked the guy who made this statement, to the 32 million tricycle drivers and self-employed who will not get your 125? They're going to carry the burden of an increase in price. You know, sabi ko, hindi naman yan ang marching order niyo eh. Then he tells me, I'm going to go to Congress. So I said, fine, I'll see you in Congress. But there are people like that we should. Again, I say that, and I agree with George, maybe 100 days is not enough for them to gel, some guys. But some people will never gel, and I hope the president will get rid of them.
So may you introduce to us whom you are referring to?
No, I would not want to do that. The guy knows. From my statement, he knows what I'm saying.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Raymond. Alexis, wait.
Yes.
JP, wait. Raymond, after Raymond, Alexis Romero, and to be followed by JP Vencito.
Ambassador, the President once mentioned that the Filipinos might need to sacrifice a bit in case the dynamics of the relationship between the Philippines and the US change. He mentioned that a few days ago. What would you be willing to sacrifice in the event that the eventuality of the changing of the dynamics of the Philippines and US relationship happens?
And I'll be making statements here that are very... Anyway, George asked me, Donald, look at this. What can we say about this? You know, I looked at the investments and the grants given by the United States to the Philippines from 2004 to 2015. Now, why did I do that? Because you have here 3 administrations, 2 of which were close to the Americans, and 1 was very close. So you would expect that you know, during the time that the very close administration was in place, that there would be a big spike, right? Well, it's not. You look at our FDIs, it's flat. $7 billion. You look at it, it's flat. Almost flat. 7 to 7.7. What does that mean? You know, look at the kind of money that came in when we were close to a country. And you will find that the money came in for military hardware and these kind of things, you know. And I think it did not go into direct foreign investments. Is what I'm saying. So do not fool yourselves by thinking that just because you're closer and you follow them that they will come in. They're gonna come in if your economy is friendly to investors, if your economy is competitive. It's not how you talk, it's how you look. You know, and I maintain that we now have the macroeconomic picture that is very clear. What we need to do now is to show them that we're really doing something in the four things that the President has said he will do. Infrastructure, logistics, energy, those are the first three, right? And peace and order. Just do those. And the low-hanging fruits is really the traffic, the drugs. If we just do 2 or 3 of these, they will come. You know, they're not going to have time to criticize because they'll be too busy putting up the factories and making money.
So you don't see the scenario of Filipinos having to sacrifice in case hindi nga naging maganda yung magiging daloy ng relationship with the US?
Hindi pa ba sacrifice yung ininsulto tayo? Hindi ba? If you think that, baliwala lang tayo. Alam mo, with technology, the telephone is right on the table of the president and the other leaders who spoke out. Didn't they not even think that it's their duty to just pick up the phone and say, Mr. President of the Philippines, we're getting this kind of reaction. Instead of going to the papers, the grandstand.
Okay, thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Mr. D. Thank you, Mr. Barcelon. Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
Marami.
First
Alam ko nagmamadali kayo at meron kayo pupunta.
Okay, first question will come from Joseph Morong.
Sir, what do you think of the statements of even the allies of the president? Since we're talking about the president talking, what do you think of those who say that medyo president might better if medyo circumspect siya in his speech?
He knows how to handle these things, and so I'd like to leave it to him. He's a person after his own heart, and he knows how to handle situations. So far, he seems to have adjusted pretty well. Hindi ba? Okay, so ganun po. He's coming out of it. I think he's coming out of it.
Sir, hindi ba natin siya makikita na, from his inside circle na babawasan yung mga press conferences and talking opportunities to media? Do you see a need for that?
Sa alin?
To less interaction with the media? Or zero interaction at all?
I don't know about lessening the interaction with the media, but I think, for example, this morning is a very fine example of how we can bring in other voices to be able to show a wider perspective regarding the president and the way he handles himself. So, katulad ng mga impressions ng hindi naman sila sa gobyerno. Naman sila, they're independent business people,
Yeah.
and yet they came of their own accord, and they're able to bring in a certain objectivity to the whole matter. So, ang siguro here is, as we're finding our way regarding all the noise, supposed to be, we'd like to, one of the ways that we're doing is we're bringing in other voices that can give a better and a clearer perspective.
So, ibig sabihin, sir, yung mga advice na, reduce muna talking, wala yan, hindi yan susundin.
Hindi naman po sa hindi susundin. We all adjust, no? We all adjust accordingly. We all adjust accordingly. Pero wala naman tayong minamanage na kwento rito. Sinasabi lang natin na here is a very unique president. He's a very unique person. He's charting a very according to the business people. He seems to be able to chart a course for the nation, which the World Bank has described as very strong and quite impressive, in spite of all the noise. So wala tayong pinapalagpas. Sinasabi ko lang is the way he's handling it seems to be pretty much par for the not par for the course, but he seems to be able to chart a steady course towards progress.
Sir, as is the presidente.
Ang
Take
alin
him
po?
for what he is. As is.
As he is, for example, he handled himself with you. Sige, okay.
Mr. Barcelon.
It's just an observation, but I think it's very important. Lately we've seen that, because you're asking how the president would take comments, suggestions. The two-letter H that comes to mind. He's humble and he's honest. We've seen on the TV that he apologized. Rarely if you see somebody on top, at high level, that they realize and they're honest enough to say I'm wrong. Okay? So with that, I think it's a good sign that he listens. Okay? And the most important thing is with the president, his heart is in the right place. So with somebody whose heart in the right place and who listens, I think the chance for us na umangat tayo is very high. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barcelon. Raymond Tenasa.
So just a reaction to the statement of the Pentagon now, speaking of the recent words of the President against US and President Obama, wherein they mentioned that the President is like Mr. Trump and he craves attention and the more he gets, the more outrageous he becomes. So according to the Pentagon spokesman, it's wisest to just ignore the President. Your reaction to the
My reaction to that is their opinion. Okay, thank you.
Marisol Halili, then to be followed by Alexis Romero.
Last two questions. Last two
Yes,
questions,
last two
please.
questions.
Sir, because of the statement of the president about several issues like the European Union and his statement about the Holocaust, it seems that the Brussels princess may not push through with her visit to the Philippines next year. What can you say about it, sir?
Well, she has her own standards by which she has to act. And although we have not really gotten any formal communication regarding those matters, so this is, in a sense, just a question, a matter of speculation. Although we respect her values, we respect her position.
How will it
I'm
affect,
sorry.
sir, our relationship or the relationship of the Philippines, particularly to Brussels or to the European Union per se?
Well, in a sense, and I think the business people here will bear me out. The businessmen will come when there is a stable condition, and when there is a competitive environment, if it is to their advantage. In other words, we're dealing. We had to deal with the European Union as two separate situations. One is the European Parliament and also the European business people. And as far as we can see, just as long as we're able to provide a decent, competitive, stable environment, I believe that they will come.
Sir, may I also have your reaction about the statement of Senator Gordon yesterday saying that yung tourism slogan now of the Philippines should be Wow PI or Welcome to the PI?
Okay. I think he was being funny. Thank you.
Alexis
Alright,
Romero.
last question,
So,
please.
last question na daw tayo. I'm
Last
sorry. Alexis.
Last two. Quick clarification lang yung una. So the President will not change his style.
Come again?
The President will not change his style despite suggestions from allies.
You know, John Kenneth Galbraith says, when the situations change, he will change his mind and he will change his attitude.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
second question. Hindi yung sa EDCA.
Alright, okay.
Kaklarify ko lang, sabi ni DFA Secretary Asay, there's no need
Come again?
Secretary Asay, there's no need to review daw EDCA. Hindi ba yun parang kontra sa sinabi ni Presidente last Sunday?
That's policy statement. It's beyond my paycheck. Okay, thank you.
Use the microphone, Joseph Morong.
Sir, to medyo, what are the steps that the administration is taking as far as combating corruption is concerned? And then comment that binabaan yung budget, I think, ng Sandigan Bayan. Two questions.
Okay, I'm not sure about the lowering of the budget, but for example, yung the streamlining of the business processes is already one step towards avoiding corruption. Okay, the streamlining of the business processes, di ba yung katulad ng one-stop shops, 3 days, getting licenses. Thank you very much.
Okay,
It's been a
thank you,
great
Joseph
day
Moore.
being with you guys.
Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, Mr. Barcelon. Thank you, Mr. Donald D. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa Radyo ng Bayan at PTV.